Hello. Welcome here. Have you ever found yourself in a fog of confusion, constantly questioning your own memories, your perceptions, even your very sanity? You're walking on eggshells, replaying conversations in your head, desperately trying to pinpoint where you went wrong, feeling an overwhelming sense of guilt or anxiety for reasons you can't quite grasp. Perhaps you feel as though your vibrant self is slowly fading. This feeling, this insidious erosion of your inner world, is a dilemma far too many modern individuals face, often without a name for the silent torment they endure. It's a profound anxiety that something is deeply wrong, not with the world, but with you. You might blame yourself, thinking you're too sensitive, too demanding, or just fundamentally flawed. But what if this isn't about your flaws at all? What if someone... Today, we're going to shine a light on one of the most destructive forms of emotional abuse: gaslighting. It's a term you might have heard, but its true impact and the subtle ways it manifests are often profoundly misunderstood. If you recognize any of the 5 signs we're about to discuss, consider this a critical warning. It's time to listen to that quiet, persistent voice within you, the one that whispers. Because if you're experiencing these signs, it's not just a sign to be cautious, it's a sign to run. Your mental well-being, your sense of self, your very spirit depends on it. So let's begin this journey of awareness and empowerment together. Gaslighting is a sophisticated form of manipulation that makes you doubt your own memory, perception, and sanity. It is designed to disorient you, to make you believe that over time this constant invalidation wears down your self-trust, leaving you vulnerable and dependent on the gaslighter's version of reality. It is not just a disagreement, it is a systematic campaign to undermine your mind, and it leaves deep scars, often invisible to the outside world, but agonizingly real within. Let's delve into the first critical sign. The first sign you might be experiencing gaslighting. Have you ever had a conversation, a memory, a specific event, so clear in your mind, only for someone close to you to completely deny it ever happened, or twist its details beyond recognition? They might say, "I never said that. You are imagining things," or "that is not how it happened at all." You feel a jolt of confusion, a sudden unsettling sensation that your own brain is betraying you. This isn't an occasion, this is a pattern, a consistent and deliberate effort to invalidate your lived experience. The problem here is a profound sense of disorientation, a constant state of cognitive dissonance. You are holding 2 conflicting realities in your mind: your clear memory and the gaslighter's absolute denial. Your brain, in its attempt to make sense of the world, struggles with this contradiction. It tries to reconcile these 2 opposing narratives, and often because the gaslighter is so convincing, so insistent, and perhaps because you trust them implicitly, you start to believe their version. This leads to an internal conflict where you begin to distrust your own senses, your own judgment, your own past. The concept at play here is a direct assault on your cognitive faculties and your epistemic certainty. Epistemic certainty refers to your A gaslighter systematically erodes this certainty. They attack the very foundation of your knowledge by denying observable facts, rewriting history, and dismissing your emotional responses as exaggerated or imagined. Imagine a steady, persistent drip of water on a stone. Each drop alone seems insignificant, but over time it carves a deep groove. Similarly, each instance of denial, each twist of truth. The analysis of this behavior reveals a deliberate strategy. The gaslighter understands that if they can control your reality, they can control you. By making you doubt what you saw, heard, or felt, they gain immense power. They might use phrases like, "You have a terrible memory," "You are so dramatic, you always exaggerate," or "Are you feeling okay? You seem a little unstable." These aren't just dismissive comments. They're psychological weapons designed to sow seeds of doubt deep within your psyche. They create a world where you feel perpetually confused, where you can't rely on your own mind to tell you what is real. Perhaps you remember a promise they made, a commitment they failed to keep. When you bring it up, they might scoff, "A promise? I never said anything of the sort. You must be dreaming." When confronted, they'll turn it around. "I was just joking. You are taking things too seriously. Can't you take a joke?" The goal isn't just to win an argument, it is to make you question the fundamental reliability of your own memory. This isn't about healthy debate or different perspectives. It is about a systematic attempt to undermine your internal compass. The application of understanding this sign is crucial. First and foremost, that uncomfortable feeling in your stomach, that nagging sense of something is wrong, Faye, it is your intuition trying to protect you. Don't dismiss it. Start documenting. Keep a private journal, send yourself emails, or use a voice recorder to note down conversations, specific incidents, and your feelings immediately after they occur. When the gaslighter tries to rewrite history, you have tangible evidence to This isn't about winning an argument. It is about preserving your sanity. Secondly, seek external validation. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or therapist. Describe the situation. A neutral third party can offer an objective perspective and confirm what your gut is telling you. They can help you ground yourself back in reality when someone else is trying to unmoor you. Reclaim your narrative by affirming your experiences. Tell yourself, I remember what happened. My feelings are valid. My reality is real. This internal reaffirmation is a powerful shield against their psychological attacks. Remember, your memories and perceptions are a vital part of your identity. Allowing someone to consistently dismantle them is to allow them to dismantle you. This sign is an urgent call to action, a signal that your inner world is under siege, and it's a critical reason to consider stepping away from the source of this profound psychological damage. The second profound sign that you might be tangled in the web of gaslighting is a persistent, gnawing anxiety and depression, often without a clear, identifiable reason. It's not just a bad day or a temporary slump. It's a pervasive shadow that seems to follow you, dimming your light and stealing your joy. You find yourself feeling constantly on edge, stressed, and emotionally drained. But when you try to articulate why, you feel lost. It's a deep unease and emotional exhaustion that permeates your entire being. The problem here lies in the cumulative effect of constant invalidation and psychological warfare. When your reality is repeatedly denied, when your feelings are dismissed as too sensitive or crazy, when you're constantly made to feel like you're the source of all problems, your emotional landscape becomes a barren wasteland. Your internal emotional regulation system, which relies on a coherent sense of self and reality, starts to break down. You lose touch with your authentic emotions because you've been taught the concept underpinning this sign is emotional manipulation and the systematic erosion of self-worth. Gaslighters often target your emotional resilience, knowing that a person who is emotionally fragile is easier to control. They create an environment where emotional safety is non-existent. Every interaction becomes a potential minefield, leading to hypervigilance. You become constantly ill. This sustained stress response floods your system with cortisol, leading to physical symptoms of anxiety, and over time depleting your emotional resources, paving the way for depression. You start to internalize the gaslighter's negative view of you, believing that you truly are difficult, irrational, or unworthy. The analysis of this insidious process reveals how a gaslighter meticulously chips away at your emotional. They might say things like, "Why are you always so upset about nothing?" when you're clearly distressed. Or, "You are too sensitive, normal people wouldn't react this way," when your reaction is perfectly proportionate to the situation. They might provoke a reaction, then blame you for it. "See, you are always so angry, Faye emotional, Faye irrational." They might use your vulnerabilities against you, bringing up past insecurities or traumatic events to make you feel inferior or inadequate, all while claiming they're just trying to help or being honest. This constant barrage of psychological invalidation makes you doubt your emotional responses, leading to a profound sense of self-betrayal. You start to suppress your genuine feelings because expressing them only leads. This suppression, combined with the underlying chronic stress, manifests as generalized anxiety and depression. You might find yourself withdrawing from activities you once enjoyed, losing interest in hobbies, experiencing changes in sleep patterns or appetite, all classic signs of emotional distress. The insidious part is that you might not connect these feelings directly to the gaslighting, because the application of recognizing this sign is vital for your recovery. Firstly, prioritize self-care and emotional grounding. This isn't a luxury, it is a necessity. Engage in activities that genuinely soothe you and bring you a sense of peace, however small. This could be mindfulness meditation, spending time in nature, listening to calming music, or pursuing a creative outlet. These activities help to regulate your nervous system and bring you back into your body, countering the disorienting effects of gaslighting. Secondly, learn to identify and validate your own emotions. Practice acknowledging how you feel without judgment. When you feel angry, sad, or anxious, simply say to yourself, "I am feeling emotion, and that's okay." This radical self-acceptance is a powerful antidote to the gaslighter's invalidation. Your feelings are signals, not flaws. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Finally, seek professional help. A therapist specializing in trauma or emotional abuse can provide a safe space to process these feelings, validate your experiences, and help you rebuild your emotional resilience and self-worth. They can equip you with coping strategies and guide you through the healing process. Remember, experiencing anxiety and depression in a gaslighting situation is not a sign of your weakness. It is a completely natural, albeit painful, response to ongoing psychological abuse. Your well-being is paramount, and recognizing this sign is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional freedom. The third unmistakable sign that you are being gaslighted, often manifesting as a profound shift in your behavior, is that this isn't about acknowledging a genuine mistake. It's a knee-jerk reaction, a preemptive strike to diffuse tension, or a desperate attempt to avoid conflict, even when the blame demonstrably lies elsewhere. You walk on eggshells, meticulously reviewing your words and actions, convinced that any slight misstep will unleash a torrent of criticism or disapproval. The problem this reveals is a severe power imbalance and a distorted sense of responsibility. The gaslighter has subtly, or not so subtly, shifted the burden of all relational issues onto your shoulders. You become the designated scapegoat, responsible for their moods, their reactions, and their failures. This constant self-blame is exhausting and debilitating, turning every interaction into a potential failure on your part, irrespective of the actual circumstances. The underlying concept here is insidious guilt, tripping, and the systematic erosion of boundaries. Gaslighters are masters at projecting their own flaws and responsibilities onto others. They understand that if they can make you feel perpetually guilty, you will be easy. By consistently blaming you for problems they create, they establish a dynamic where you are always on the defensive, always seeking their approval, and always trying to appease them. Your natural boundaries, which define where you end and another person begins, become blurred and permeable. You absorb their anger, their frustration, and their blame as if it were your own. The analysis of this behavior demonstrates the gaslighters. They might create a conflict. Then, when you react to it, say, "See, you're always so combative. Why do you always have to make everything a fight?" Implying your reaction is the problem, not their initial provocation. Or if they forget something important, they might deflect with, "Well, if you had reminded me, it wouldn't have happened. This is your fault for not being more organized." They might also use passive-aggressive tactics such as silent treatments or subtle digs, until you, in your desperation for peace, finally apologize for something you didn't do, just to make the discomfort stop. This is a classic tactic to reinforce their narrative that you are always at fault and they are the innocent party. The cycle perpetuates. They act out. You get blamed, you apologize, and the dynamic of their superiority and your inferiority is reinforced. This makes you believe that if you could just be better, nicer, or more perfect, these conflicts would cease and their behavior would improve. But the truth is, their behavior is designed to keep you perpetually off, balance, and apologetic. The application: first, cultivate awareness of when you are apologizing unnecessarily. Before an apology leaves your lips, pause. Ask yourself, am I genuinely responsible for this, or am I apologizing out of fear, habit, or to placate someone else? This moment of conscious reflection is powerful. You might find that the vast majority of your apologies are not for your actual wrongdoing, but secondly, start practicing setting small, firm boundaries. This can be as simple as not engaging with their blame or stating your perspective clearly without immediately backing down. You don't have to absorb their projections. You can say, "I understand you are upset, but I am not responsible for that." Or, "My intention was X, and I am not apologizing for that." This isn't about being combative, it's about standing firm in your truth. even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Thirdly, remember that you are not responsible for another person's emotions or actions. While empathy is important, enabling someone's toxic behavior by constantly taking the blame only perpetuates the cycle. Recognize that true apologies are expressions of genuine remorse for harm caused, not a tool for manipulation. Breaking this habit of incessant apologizing is a profound act of self-reclamation. It signals to yourself, and eventually to the gaslighter, that you are beginning to reclaim your power and your sense of self-worth. It marks the first step in dismantling the illusion of your perpetual guilt and the gaslighter's unassailable innocence. The fourth critical red flag indicating you are a target of gaslighting is the insidious. You might find that your once vibrant social life has dwindled, your calls to loved ones become less frequent, or you simply feel a growing chasm between yourself and the people who used to understand and cherish you. This isn't a natural drifting apart. It's a systematic, calculated severing of your lifelines, leaving you feeling increasingly alone and dependent. The problem here is the erosion of your external reality checks. Your friends and family serve as crucial mirrors, reflecting your true self, validating your experiences, and offering alternative perspectives to the gaslighter's distorted narrative. When these connections are weakened or severed, you lose vital sources of support and independent verification. You become more susceptible to the gaslighter's version of reality because there are fewer voices to contradict it, fewer people to remind. The concept at play is the deliberate isolation of the victim to gain total control. Gaslighters understand that external relationships pose a threat to their manipulative agenda. People who care about you might notice the changes in you, point out the gaslighter's behavior, or offer you a way out. To prevent this, the gaslighter will employ various tactics to isolate you. This often starts subtly and escalates over time. By cutting off your support network, they ensure you have no one else to turn to, making you completely reliant on them for emotional validation, information, and a sense of belonging. The analysis of this isolation tactic reveals a dark strategy. The gaslighter might subtly criticize your friends or family, saying things like, "They don't really understand you, they're a bad influence," or they might create scenarios that make it difficult for you to see your loved ones, perhaps by scheduling conflicts, creating drama just before you're supposed to meet someone, or expressing intense disapproval if you do go out without them. They might even explicitly forbid you from seeing certain people, claiming it's for your own good or for the sake of the relationship. They might intercept messages, monitor your calls, or demand. Over time, you internalize their criticisms and justifications, beginning to believe that your friends and family truly don't understand you, or that their presence causes conflict, making it easier to distance yourself. You start to anticipate their disapproval, and it becomes easier to just avoid the potential argument by not reaching out to your support system. The result is a profound sense of loneliness, a feeling that no one truly gets what you're going. This can also manifest as the gaslighter fabricating lies about you to your loved ones, turning them against you or making you feel ashamed to share your experiences, fearing they won't believe you. The application of recognizing this sign is paramount for your safety and well-being. Firstly, consciously work to reconnect with your support system. Even if it feels difficult or awkward, reach out to a trusted friend or family member. Just hearing a familiar, loving voice can be a powerful reminder of your true self and the world outside the gaslighter's control. Be honest about the challenges you are facing. Your true friends and family will be there for you, offering a lifeline. Secondly, actively resist the gaslighter's attempts to isolate you. If they criticize your friends, gently push back, or at least internally validate your friend's worth. If they create drama to prevent you, setting boundaries around your social life is a powerful act of defiance against their control. Thirdly, remember that your support system is a vital part of your mental and emotional health. They provide different perspectives, validate your reality, and offer emotional refuge. Nurturing these relationships is not a selfish act. It's a necessary act of self-preservation. Losing touch with them leaves you vulnerable. Reaching out, even a little, can begin to weave back the safety net that has been systematically dismantled around you. It's an essential step toward breaking free from their psychological grip and re-establishing your sense of belonging in the world. As we delve into the fifth and final sign, please take a moment to consider if this content has resonated with you if it sparked a moment of recognition or understanding. If it has, I encourage you to hit. Your support helps us to continue shedding light on these crucial topics, empowering more individuals to identify and navigate complex psychological challenges with clarity and insight. Thank you for being a part of this community. Now let's explore the last most devastating sign. The fifth and arguably most devastating sign that you are being gaslighted is that you feel like a different person, losing your sense of self. This isn't a natural evolution or growth. It is an erosion, a slow and agonizing stripping away of your core identity, your values, your passions, and your very essence. You look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. The vibrant, confident, authentic you has been replaced by someone anxious, uncertain, and hollow. The problem at its heart is the complete subversion of your identity, a psychological colonization where your inner world is systematically reshaped to serve the gaslighter's narrative and needs. Your sense of self, which is built on your beliefs, values, memories, and aspirations, becomes so distorted that you no longer know who you are. You might find yourself abandoning hobbies you once loved, silencing your opinions. This loss of self is profoundly disorienting and leaves you feeling alienated from your own being. The core concept at play here is identity subversion and psychological control. A gaslighter's ultimate goal is often to remake you in their image or to fit their manipulative needs. They systematically attack your core identity, the very foundation of who you are. This can involve mocking your passions. Why do you waste time criticizing your values? You are too idealistic, that is naive, or subtly undermining your beliefs. You only think that because you are easily influenced, they might constantly compare you unfavorably to others, or to an idealized version of yourself that never truly existed. This constant critique, combined with the invalidation of your reality and emotions, makes you doubt your worth, your capabilities, and your right. You gradually start to believe their narrative about who you are, a weak, irrational, flawed person, and conform to their expectations, losing touch with your authentic self in the process. The analysis of this process reveals a meticulous, often unconscious, campaign to control your internal landscape. The gaslighter might say, "You used to be so fun, what happened to you?" Implying that your current unhappy, or "I don't even know who you are anymore, you've changed so much," when in fact their actions have forced you to change in self-protective, albeit self-effacing ways. They create a climate where expressing your true self feels unsafe, where being authentic is met with disapproval, criticism, or even punishment. You learn to suppress parts of yourself to maintain peace, to gain their fleeting approval. This leads to a profound disconnect between your inner self and your outward presentation. You become an actor in your own life, performing the role the gaslighter has assigned to you, losing touch with your own desires, needs, and aspirations. This isn't just about changing habits, it's about a fundamental resculpting of your personality, your dreams, and your very soul. You might find that your energy is entirely consumed by managing. The application of recognizing this sign is the most crucial step towards recovery and regaining your life. First, embark on a journey of self-discovery and reconnection. Ask yourself, who was I before this relationship? What did I love to do? What were my core values? Journaling, meditation, and spending time alone in reflection can help you tap back into those buried parts of yourself. Revisit old hobbies. These acts, however small, are vital for reconstructing your identity. Secondly, identify your core values and stand firm on them. Gaslighters often try to shift your moral compass. Remind yourself of what truly matters to you, regardless of their opinions. This internal anchor will help you resist their attempts to redefine your ethical and personal boundaries. Thirdly, seek professional help. Rebuilding a shattered sense of self is a complex process, and a skilled therapist can provide invaluable guidance, validation, and strategies for healing and self-reclamation. They can help you grieve the person you were, understand the trauma you've endured, and empower you to build a stronger, more resilient identity. Finally, understand that reclaiming yourself is not a linear process, but it requires courage, patience, and unwavering self-compassion. The person you once were is still within you, perhaps buried under layers of manipulation, but waiting to be rediscovered. This process is about returning home to yourself, These 5 signs fake constantly questioning your reality, persistent anxiety and depression without clear reason, incessant apologizing, isolation from your support system, and the profound loss. They are the insidious hallmarks of gaslighting, a form of psychological abuse that seeks to dismantle your very being. If you recognize these patterns in your life, please understand that you are not alone and you are not crazy. Your feelings are valid and your experiences are real. The most vital action you can take is to acknowledge what is happening and take steps to protect yourself. Trust that persistent gut feeling. Document incidents to provide concrete evidence for yourself. Reach out to trusted friends, family, or a therapist who can offer an objective perspective and validate your experiences. Their external viewpoint can be an anchor in the storm of confusion. Most importantly, recognize that you deserve to live a life free from manipulation and emotional torment. You deserve to trust your own mind, to feel sometimes the only path to healing and self-preservation is to create distance, or even to sever ties with the source of this profound damage. It is an act of incredible strength and self-love. Remember, running from a gaslighter is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound act of courage. It is choosing to defend your mind, your heart, and your very soul. Your journey toward healing and reclaiming your truth begins. I hope today's sharing provides you with a new perspective on the world, a lens through which to better understand the subtle yet devastating dynamics of psychological manipulation. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.